Already time for another weekly reading update. And this one feels a bit more substantial than the last few. Because I finally finished the Dragonbone chair by Ted Williams, which is the first book in the Memory, Sorrow and Thorn trilogy. And yeah, this was a commitment. It's a long book, close to 1,000 pages, and it definitely feels like that at times. It's very much a slow classic fantasy story, and I think whether you enjoy it or not really depends on how much patience you have for that style. The first half for me was honestly a bit of a struggle. It spends a lot of time setting things up, world building, history, atmosphere, and while that's all well done, it didn't always feel engaging on a moment-to-moment level. There were definitely stretches where I felt like I was just waiting for something to really happen. But then the second half comes in, and that's where things start to click. The story begins to take shape, the stakes become clearer, and the pacing, while still not fast, feels much more intentional. It's not just wandering anymore, it's building towards something. And that made a huge difference in how invested I was. I still wouldn't call it a page turner, but it became a lot more compelling. Simon as a main character is probably my biggest issue with the book. He just never fully works for me. He feels very much like a traditional fantasy protagonist, young, inexperienced, but he lacks that extra layer that makes him stand out. I didn't dislike him, but I also didn't find myself particularly excited to follow his journey. What did really stand out was the prose. For a book of this length, it's consistently well written. It's descriptive without being overwhelming, and it really brings the world to life. And you can feel the care that went into building this setting. And that's probably what carried me through some of the slower parts. And by the time I reached the end, I was glad I stuck with it. It's one of those books where the payoff doesn't fully land unless you commit to the whole thing. And while I wasn't completely blown away, I'm definitely interested enough to continue with the sequel. Because it feels like this was very much a foundation for something bigger. And next up, I read Flight, the sixth book in the Legend of the Galactic Heroes. And this series just continues to impress me. And what I really liked about this one is how it handles the aftermath of the previous book. The first half is much quieter and more reflective. Instead of immediately jumping into the next big conflict, it actually takes the time to explore the consequences of everything that just happened. You see where the characters ended up, how the balance of power has shifted, and how the different factions are trying to adapt. And I think that's something this series does incredibly well. It doesn't just move from one big event to the next, it actually lets those events mean something. You get a sense that history is unfolding, it's not just a plot moving forward. And then in the second half, things start to ramp up again. The pace picks up, new developments come into play, and once again, the story just becomes very hard to put down. The political maneuvering, strategic decisions, the character dynamics, it all starts clicking together again, in that really satisfying way. And even 6 books in, the series still manages to be surprising. And you think by now you'd have a good sense of where things are going, but it just keeps shifting enough to stay interesting. Characters evolve, alliances are changing all the time, and nothing ever feels completely predictable. And at this point, it's just one of those series where I trust the author completely. Even when it slows down, I know it's building towards something worthwhile. After that one, I just started Even of Ephos by Lewis McMaster Beyond. And this one has been a really refreshing change of pace. First of all, it's technically part of the Verkoosgen saga, but it works completely as a standalone, which I always appreciate. And the premise is honestly one of the most unique I've read in a while. In this book you have this planet populated entirely by man, and they rely on artificial wombs to reproduce. But now they're running into a problem. The ovarian cultures that they depend on are starting to fail, and so they need new ones. And which means for the first time someone has to leave the planet and deal with the outside universe, of course including women. And the main character, Ethan, has absolutely no experience with that. So we get a lot of these really awkward and sometimes funny interactions where he's trying to navigate something that is completely normal to everyone else, but it's totally foreign to him. And this creates this really interesting mix of science fiction, social commentary and humor. And like the other Verkoosgen books, it feels very character focused, which I like, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. And so it's a nice contrast to something like The Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which is much more political and large scale. And I'm still early in, but it's been very enjoyable so far, and I'm curious to see whether it leans more into the comedy or the sci-fi ideas as it goes on. And when I finish this book, the next up is Consider Phoebus, which I've been meaning to get to for quite a while now. This is my first entry into the Culture series, and honestly it feels like one of those big sci-fi milestones. It's one of those names that just keeps coming up if you spend any time in sci-fi spaces. So I'm really curious to finally experience it for myself. And what I find interesting is that this isn't just another space opera. It's supposed to be a very idea-driven series, dealing with things like artificial intelligence and what a truly advanced civilization might actually look like. And from what I understand, Consider Phoebus is a bit of an unusual starting point, because it's told from a perspective of someone who is actually opposed to the culture rather than part of it, which already makes it more interesting to me. Instead of just being introduced to this advanced society in a straightforward way, you're seeing it from the outside, or even from the perspective of someone who actively rejects it. And that feels like a much more nuanced way to explore those ideas. And I've also heard it's a bit more action heavy and chaotic compared to some of the later books in the series. So I'm expecting something that's maybe a little rougher around the edges, but also more immediate and fast moving. Either way, I'm going in pretty open-minded. And this feels like the start of a series that could either really click with me or just takes a bit of time to fully appreciate. But giving it its reputation, I'm expecting it to at least be interesting, even if it doesn't completely land right away. So yeah, definitely excited to finally dive into this one. So yeah, overall, a really solid reading week. So yeah, slow but ultimately worthwhile fantasy read. A sci-fi series that just keeps delivering, and a new book that's already proving to be a lot of fun. So while it was not the fastest reading week, definitely one with a lot to talk about. And like always, let me know what you've been reading lately, especially if you read any of these, and I hope to see you again in the next video.